Hybrids, Harvest Trilogy Volume 2, written by Michele E. Gwynn, narrated by Lawrence D. Yaklin. Prologue. May 15, 1962. The screams were the loudest and most maniacal sounds Sergeant Trent Wilkins had ever heard. Assigned to guard the doors to the 12th Air Training Command's underground bunker, located approximately 2 miles northwest of Randolph Air Force Base, Texas, Wilkins had not been given any specifics, nor had he asked. He just followed orders, and his orders were to stand guard from 2300 hours till 700, and let in only 3 authorized personnel on the list. With the steel doors closed, no one beyond the field could hear those screams. Screams that sounded like something out of a nightmare, like they came from an animal, but no animal he'd ever encountered before. The sounds assaulted his ears and scraped the inside of his skull as Dr. Andrei Troyevsky and Colonel Lewis Reed exited those steel doors and headed up the ramp toward the Jeep parked in the center of what was otherwise a fallow field. Cows lowed in the distance, answering those screams that faded off as the doors automatically closed behind the departed men. Wilkins was relieved when the lock clicked shut and he could no longer easily detect the otherworldly screeching. Other than the frightening noises from within, the job was easy. He could smoke his cigarettes, pee in the field, and he was allowed 1 30-minute break to eat. As long as no one went in that wasn't on the list, and no one left who wasn't on the list, his job was complete. The list changed nightly with only a few variations in authorized military personnel, but the demands of the post stayed the same. Wilkins had been on this detail for 3 months, and not much had changed. If he could finish out his military contract before his out-processing back into civilian life pulling this detail, his remaining time would be a cakewalk. He lit a Marlboro as the Jeep pulled away and took a long drag. Only Dr. Parker remained inside the bunker. How he could stand those screams, being so close to whatever was going on in there, he didn't know. Ben Parker was in his 50s with silvery hair, what little he had, and wore a stern countenance. On the few occasions he'd seen him, Parker had not acknowledged the sergeant beyond flashing his ID, and he always looked 10 years older when he left in the morning. Wilkins leaned up against the concrete frame built 2 stories into the ground that surrounded the 10-inch thick steel doors. His cigarette burned down slowly between his fingers as he let his eyelids droop. The peaceful sounds, crickets chirping, a light breeze in the trees, and the cows out in the neighboring field created a tranquil state that lulled him into a light doze. Troyevsky and Colonel Reed wouldn't return this night. Once someone left during a shift, they were finished, so he wasn't worried about being caught sleeping on duty. Wilkins perfected the art of dozing while standing guard. It was how he spent most nights. This one was no different, until a loud banging from inside the steel doors jerked him to attention. Muffled screams barely discernible through the 10-inch thick steel mingled with the frantic pounding. "Open the door!" Muffled, the words reached his ears. Wilkins cocked his M14 and aimed at the doors. "Dr. Parker, are you okay, sir?" "Open the door, soldier! Open the door!" More pounding and the sound of scraping assaulted his ears. Wilkins felt increasingly uneasy and panicked, but tried to remain calm. "Sir, you have to use your key, sir. I don't have a key to open this door." "I'm not authorized." "Use your key and open the door slowly." "I'm armed, and I won't stand down until I'm assured you're all right." Words gave way to unearthly screams. The sounds of fists pounding on the inside of the door gave way to a hideous scraping like fingernails on metal. Then a loud bang that sounded like a body slamming into the right-hand door caused both to shudder and actually shake the concrete jamb. Silence. "Dr. Parker!" Sergeant Wilkins called. No answer. "Doc! Doc! Doc!" Wilkins felt a sick sense of horror. Something had happened to Dr. Parker, and he couldn't help him. Couldn't get inside the doors or leave his post to call for help. Damn it! He paced back and forth, never lowering his rifle from quick aim at the doors. There was more than an hour left until daylight and the arrival of the next shift of authorized personnel. He'd have to wait. He had no...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?